What's going on, guys? It's Greg here, aka NYPrepper. It is Saturday, October 21st, 2023, and I have another emergency alert to share with you guys. Right now, it is 9:54 p.m. Eastern Time here in the United States, and we have some major breaking news coming from the Middle East. So, apparently, 6 Chinese warships have arrived in the Middle East, in Kuwait. And this is coming from the Eurasian Times, which cited a Chinese Ministry of Defense website. So apparently, the 44th Naval Escort Task Force arrived at the Shuwak port in Kuwait on the morning of October 18th after joint exercises with the Omani Navy. So that was 3 days ago. All right. So that was Wednesday. The task force hails from the People's Liberation Army Eastern Theater and comprises the Zibo, a Type 52 guided missile destroyer, the frigate Jingzhou, and the integrated supply ship Quangdao. Okay. So China is moving their warships into the Middle East, obviously, because the situation is very, very unstable. And there's a good chance that the U.S. might get involved and strike Iran. So obviously, China wants to protect their assets. So this is huge news, guys. And we do know that just this past week, a few days ago, the Chinese President Xi Jinping met with Putin in Beijing in China. Okay, so maybe this was related to that meeting with Putin. I don't know. I'm just, taking a guess. But that is very, very concerning. And U.S. nuclear forces are still on very high alert tonight. We had 4 nuclear war command and control planes airborne this evening. Here's the fourth one, and it just landed after flying across the entire southeastern U.S., and it was doing these touch and go loops at Warner Robins. Okay, very, very interesting. I've never really seen this before. For them to fly this thing all across the southeast and then do touch and go loops over Warner Robins, and then finally landing at Patuxent, which is their East Coast home base. And these planes are responsible for remotely launching all of our silo based nuclear missiles in the event that ground based launch control centers get wiped out in a nuclear strike. These planes could still launch our entire arsenal of Minuteman III ICBMs, and they can also communicate with our nuclear armed submarines. So these planes are absolutely crucial for our nuclear forces. Okay, so there were 4 of them total airborne this evening, and one of them shut off its transponder. So our nuclear forces are on very, very high alert, guys. Okay, so make sure you guys are getting prepared. And here we have 5 aerial refuelers going to California from Mount Holly, New Jersey. Okay, this is pretty interesting. So 5 KC-46A Pegasus planes flew across the country, and it looks like they might be landing at Travis Air Force Base, but I'll have to keep an eye on them and see where they land. But this is pretty unusual to have 5 aerial refuelers take off at the same time and fly across the country and land at the same base is what it looks like they're going to do. So maybe they're going to move these to the Asia Pacific theater. I'm not sure, but this is definitely unusual. And these planes are used for refueling various types of critical planes like the nuclear war command and control planes, bombers, fighter jets. So these planes are essential. And here's a screenshot from earlier this evening of 3 of these nuclear war command and control planes airborne at the same time You can see one was flying along the Pacific Northwest coast, and then it flew out to sea and shut its transponder off near the southern Oregon coast. And then at the same time, we had one flying over Montana and North Dakota. And then at the same time, we had that one down here in the southeast. And then earlier in the evening, we had one doing loops over Oklahoma here. Okay, it was just doing loops right outside of Tinker Air Base. Okay, just, looping for a couple hours. So this is very, very strange, guys. We still have a ton of Western and U.S. Military transport planes going to and from Israel. In the last week or so, there's probably been like dozens of these transport planes, C-17s, going to and from Israel, basically dropping off weapons and ammunition. And here we have a video that was shared to me by a friend of mine who lives next to Stratcom in Omaha, Nebraska. And he took this video from his house. And he's literally like right next to Offutt Air Base. And you can see here two black helicopters flying towards Stratcom. So our military is on high alert, guys. Okay. And we have some breaking news that the commander of the Quds force of the Iranian Revolutionary Guard Corps, Brigadier General Ismail Khani, has reportedly arrived in Syria today in order to supervise the pro-Iranian militias, which are claimed to be on high alert along the western Syrian border with Israel. So this is the guy right here. He's the commander of the Quds force. And I've been mentioning these Iranian jihadists that have been shuttled by buses to the border of Israel in Syria. A lot of them have been moved towards Damascus. So the Iranians are moving their forces into Syria. Okay, they're bringing in volunteers. They're bringing in these Quds force soldiers. Okay, to fight against Israel. This is crazy, guys. Okay. And the next step is basically Iran using ballistic missiles against Israel, which I think that's what they really want to do deep down inside. Here we have a picture showing Israelis firing flares into Lebanon tonight. Apparently, there's been really intense fighting along the Israeli-Lebanon border. So it looks like another front is going to open up over there. And the Hezbollah forces are much better equipped than Hamas. So if Hezbollah does get involved, then the U.S. is going to have to get involved because Israel's going to have a hard time fighting against Hezbollah, plus the Iranian jihadists that are being shuttled in by buses to Syria, and then also Hamas. So the U.S. is going to have to get involved. They didn't move two carrier strike groups to the region for no reason, and a Marine Expeditionary Unit with 2,500 Marines and amphibious landing ships to the region for no reason at all. So apparently there's been explosions tonight reported at the headquarters of the Iranian Defense Ministry in Tehran. So I don't know what happened there. We have a chief defense correspondent for Israel's Channel 13 saying that the IDF has completed preparations for a ground operation in Gaza, but the political echelon still does not approve. Okay. The Israeli Minister of Defense, Yoav Gallant, apparently asked the War Cabinet and Benjamin Netanyahu for permission for a ground operation in Lebanon against Hezbollah after yesterday's rapid escalation of the conflict there along the border with Lebanon. And so far, no clear response on that. But for the Minister of Defense to request for a ground operation into Lebanon, that is huge, guys. That is huge. Israeli defense officials have stated they are expecting a massive escalation of rocket attacks from Hezbollah in southern Lebanon over the next week, and that they are preparing for the deployment of additional forces to the north, with Lebanon possibly becoming the primary war zone. Okay, so Israeli defense officials saying that Lebanon could become the primary war zone. Okay, and I think that that's very possible, guys. I think what's going to happen is it's going to evolve into a war against Hezbollah and these Iranian jihadists that are coming in from Iran, Iraq, Syria, all the pro Iranian militias that are coming down. I think that's going to be the main threat, not so much Hamas, because Hamas is a small group. They're not well armed, and they're not the most well funded. So Israel could just use airstrikes to attack Hamas for a long period of time without sending in men, and just use airstrikes to suppress Hamas. And then at the same time, they could fight against Hezbollah and these pro Iranian militias or Iranian jihadists. But I don't think they're going to be able to do all of that by themselves. The U.S. is going to get involved, and there's been information coming out that Iran has recruited over 1 million volunteers to go fight against Israel in a holy war. And this update is being sponsored by My Patriot Supply. Guys, I have a special deal for you that My Patriot Supply hooked me up with, and it's a 25% discount on their 3-month emergency food supply and their 2-week emergency food supply. So to get the deal, you have to use the link in the description below this video, which is preparewithNYPrepper.com, and you'll get 25% off the My Patriot Supply 3-month emergency food supply and 2-week emergency food supply. Now, these food supplies are freeze dried, so they have a 25-year shelf life if stored in the proper conditions. They come in rugged, water-resistant buckets. The 3-month emergency food supply comes in 6 water-resistant buckets, so they don't take up a lot of room. And you have 3 months worth of food, which should cover you for almost any scenario. There's a variety of different food in this 3-month supply and also in the 2-week supply. As you can see here, rice pudding, mac and cheese, creamy stroganoff, cheesy broccoli soup, chili mac, spaghetti. I mean, just a ton of different food here. So you're going to get a good variety, and it's also healthy, and there's no MSG. So get prepared, guys. We're living in unprecedented times. World War III could happen at any moment. And the 2-week emergency food supply is also great for people that like to go camping. You can get one of these buckets and throw it in your vehicle. So use the link preparewithNYPrepper.com to get 25% off of the 2-week and the 3-month emergency food supply from My Patriot Supply, 25-year shelf life. They also have a general store. If you click on their logo here, it'll take you to their general store, which has all kinds of prepping and survival items. So check them out, guys. I'll leave a link in the description below this video. So apparently, Iranian-backed militias have attacked another U.S. airbase today. The U.S. Al Harir Air Base in the Erbil region came under attack with drones, and the base is located in the vicinity of Erbil International Airport. An Israeli spokesman said the Israeli army will intensify its airstrikes on the Gaza Strip starting tonight. And I want to just share some video footage here coming from inside of a bunker in Iran. And this is why I was telling you guys a long time ago that, the U.S. is not going to be able to conduct a conventional strike on Iran. They're going to have to do a nuclear strike on Iran, because you see this bunker? They have all their drones and all their missiles in these bunkers. Okay, looks like they have some warheads here. I don't know if these are nuclear warheads or what, but they have all their equipment in these bunkers, deep underground, okay, underneath mountains in Iran. And, conventional munitions like Tomahawk missiles are not going to do enough damage. You need high yield warheads to be able to neutralize this type of a bunker. Look at all these Shahed drones here with the truck that they use to launch them. The U.S. would love to annihilate the Iranian military so they could no longer supply Russia with these Shahed drones and all the other enemies of NATO. So just wanted to share this with you. I think this is a very interesting video. It shows the inside of one of these bunkers. So the Israeli military found a USB drive with instructions for producing a cyanide dispersion device on the body of a Hamas operative who participated in the October 7 terrorist attack, according to two Israeli officials, and a copy of a classified Israeli Foreign Ministry cable obtained by Axios. Okay, so that is very, very concerning. Hamas is trying to build chemical weapons. We do know that North Korea has a massive supply of chemical weapons, and so does Russia, and they could easily supply these, terrorists with chemical weapons of all kinds. Hezbollah is claiming to have targeted an Israeli Humvee and Merkava main battle tank using anti-tank guided missiles on the border with Lebanon today. And apparently, over 100,000 people attended a pro-Palestinian Hamas demonstration in London today. I want to just show you guys the video here. This is just insane. This is coming from London. Look at all these pro-Hamas demonstrators here, pro-Palestinian, pro-Hamas. Absolutely crazy, guys. Look at all these people. All right, 100,000 people. It's just ridiculous. And apparently, Israel conducted an airstrike on a mosque in the West Bank, and they were targeting a terrorist compound that was located underground underneath the mosque. And so apparently, these terrorists were using the mosque to hide from Israeli airstrikes. They thought that Israel wouldn't target the mosque because it's, a holy area and that's like off limits. But it looks like Israel did hit that mosque with some kind of airstrike precision munition, and there was an underground compound beneath the mosque, and this was the Al Ansari Mosque within the Jenin refugee camp in the West Bank. And we currently have intense airstrikes on Gaza right now in Rafah, Zaytun, Khan Yunis, and Beit Lahia. And I had a viewer send me an email this evening saying that they live near the Bangor Kitsap base, which is in Washington. That's where we have most of our nuclear armed submarines. And so one of my viewers works at a store, and someone came into the store who had a son in the Navy, and their son told them that they were put on combat alert as of yesterday. And the son works at the Bangor Kitsap submarine base. Okay, so that's definitely pretty concerning. We have the U.S. deploying B-52s to Guam. And so apparently these B-52s arrived in Guam. And we have a sad story coming out of Detroit. The president of a synagogue was murdered. Police have not determined a motive yet, but it appears to have been something related to the fact that she was Jewish, the president of a synagogue. And so this is very concerning. So that's why I've been telling you guys to be aware of your surroundings. Okay, the chances of terrorism is only going to go up as we get deeper and deeper into this war in the Middle East. Okay, global jihad has already been declared. So make sure you're prepared. Make sure you're aware of your surroundings. Make sure you know where exits are. Make sure you know where cover and concealment is. If you have a self-defense tool and it's legal in your state to carry, you should carry all the time, and try to avoid any potential targets. Okay, don't go to areas that you know could be a target unless you absolutely have to. And that's pretty much it, guys. Wanted to give you this update. I will be back tomorrow with more updates on the war in Israel and other events around the world, including Ukraine. And once this war kicks off, I will go live 24/7 to cover the situation. So make sure you're subscribed. Make sure you hit the bell icon so you can get notified when I upload new updates like this one or when I go live. So that's pretty much it, guys. Have a good night. Take care. God bless. And don't forget the 3 Ps: prepare, practice, and persevere.